What's up, everybody? Joe ringing here, coming to you on this Happy New Year's Day, Happy 2026. But I'm coming to you today with another book review, and today is a good book to be reviewed for if you're starting your new year and you want to start with good goals and inspiration and motivation and all the good stuff. This book is going to set you on the right path for a great, healthy, awesome 2026. Before I talk about this book, I just want to throw it out there that beyond reviewing books and reading books, I also like to write books. I've written a book. It's called The Ballad of Ages. It's a tale of epic fantasy. Check it out if you want to have a good read, a fun fantasy book. But I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about this book called The Alchemist by author Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but in my mind, that's how it's pronounced. This author definitely deserves to have his name pronounced correctly, though. Holy moly, guys. The Alchemist. This book, so good. So good, man. So good. For a lot of reasons. And I'm going to talk about all those reasons. I'll start the review just by saying, if all you wanted was the score or the review or recommendation to read this, yes. Everyone should read this book. I gave it 100 out of 10 on my written review on my blog. This book is incredible. It is fun. I mean, it's an adventure tale. It's packed with wisdom and truth and inspiration. This book is magic. Straight up magic. The words of this book evoke some sort of magic within the world. You can't help but feel you're on some magical quest right along with the main character when you read this book. All ages should read this book. Everybody. It's for everybody. It's for, if you are a human being, this book is for you. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get into with this book. I've heard, hey, everyone regards this book highly. It's on many people's top whatever book of all time. And it's it's pretty modern. I think it was, I should know this. I think it was written in the 80s? 80s or 90s? Oh, wait. No. 2000s. Wait. Doesn't matter. Pretty recent. The edition I read is the 25th anniversary edition, which I think is really cool because beyond having the awesome story, the 25th anniversary edition had a little author introduction. I thought that was fascinating to read. It's just a little, I think, 5 or 6 page thing from Paulo Coelho. It's a really cool author insight. He kind of talks about how this book, when he first wrote it, no one would pick it up. He said like maybe one person picked it up in the local bookstore, and that same person bought another copy. Like those were only 2 copies purchased for a while. But it didn't bother him because this book, it was so much of himself into this. This is like his story he had to tell to the world. And so when he wrote it, that's great. If one person reads it, awesome. If nobody reads it, awesome. In some way or another, this book landed on I think Oprah read it or something and then spread like wildfire. Rightly so. This book touches the core of what it means to be human and just there's so many themes and so much truth and wisdom in this book. So obviously everyone can relate and love it. But it was inspiring to me, as like a wannabe author, writer, that, who cares if no one reads your book? Like when I started writing, I just did it because I like it and it's a story I want to tell. And I enjoy writing. And same with this author, Paulo Coelho. So it's nice that other people have the same feelings, and it doesn't matter if nobody reads it. It's your own story. Put it out there, you know? And it's kind of reassuring that a book of this magnitude and this much perfection can be out in the world, and maybe no one reads it. That doesn't mean the book is bad. That just means for whatever reason, no one comes across it until So it's inspiring to read that introduction by the author. So if you're going to read Alchemist, I recommend getting the 25th year anniversary edition because it has that introduction. So yeah, I picked this up. My brother has read it, and he's told me many times to read it. I just, for whatever reason, haven't. I think the main reason is because this is just a failure on my part to do research. But when I keep hearing about this book, I keep thinking it's kind of like a Harry Potter ripoff or something, where it's just like a weird, because it's called Alchemist. Like, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably like some Harry Potter type of book. Which, by the way, I love Harry Potter, but like, I don't need to read that again. I've read it already, sort of thing. So I didn't really know what this book was about, and so I just kind of pushed it off and put it off. But recently, me and my wife went to Florida, just on vacation, and I like having books to read on the plane and for traveling. And so I picked up Guards, which I've already done that review. And then this book was also on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. That's why I picked it up. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, get this book. It's on there. So I was like, okay, I need like another kind of short book because Guards was, I don't know, pretty short, but still like 300 pages or something. So then I came across Alchemist, and I'm like, yep, everyone loves this book. And it's only 80 pages. That's the other crazy thing. This book is a short read. 80 pages. And it's amazing how in that short amount of pages, compared to most like adventure or fantasy books, there is so much packed into that you start to think with these huge 1,000-page books you read, like, why are these books this long? You don't need to be this long. This book, The Alchemist, is 80 pages, and it is just a mountain of just insight and with a short amount of words, and it's amazing. So it's just kind of funny how that stuff works. So I read it, and holy cow. I had to put this book down a few times and just think, like, this is incredible. Like, I had to reread some passages, and I highlighted some, and I'll read a few select ones to you guys that really stuck out to me. But yeah, this book is so good, man. So good. So what is it about? All right, so you got the main character. He's just like a humble shepherd in Spain, and this is the part where, like, I think every human being can relate to this. His story, he has this. The book keeps calling it a personal legend. In my head, I just kind of equate that to like a purpose, right? Like, what is your purpose in life? Why am I inclined to like these sort of things or do these sort of things? So like everyone's kind of wondering, what's my purpose? What am I here for? What should I be doing with the time gifted to me on this earth? So, you get the shepherd boy, the humble shepherd, and he's always kind of a strange dude. He didn't go off and be a priest like everyone else in his family. He liked to travel. So with little means to do so, a good way for him to travel is become a shepherd, because you got to go to different towns and stuff. So he did that, and that's cool. It's what's fun about him is he gets these recurring dreams, and in these dreams he keeps going to the pyramids and finding treasure. So that's just that part was really cool. Because we all have these sort of dreams with different like motifs or whatever, reoccurring type of themes. It's like, why do I keep having these, or why am I inclined to do this, or why does this interest me, sort of thing. But you don't really know where to go with it or what to do about it. So the main character, I don't think he's named in this book. He's just called the boy. So he goes and And through meeting various people, he finally decides, I'm gonna figure out what this dream is all about. And so in one of the towns he's in, he goes to a gypsy woman. So that's the other thing that I really liked about The Alchemist, and I think Paulo Coelho did this intentionally. He could have put this setting really anywhere in any time period, but I think for some reason, just like the Mediterranean or in like the desert, just there's something very like magical about that, or very spiritual about that setting. And so that really, just that setting background really highlighted the sort of like spiritual nature of this book, and it really is. It's more than an adventure tale. It's almost a theology tale too. Really, um, it's the main character. He's sort of trying to find God too, and it's a religious quest. It's a spiritual quest. And it's a treasure quest. So it's fun. It's everything. It's the whole human experience wrapped into one. Everything. Um, So anyway, I got to figure out this dream. So he goes to this gypsy woman, and she's like, all right, here's what your dream means, but you have to give me a certain amount of treasure. She's like, cool. And so he does that, and then he runs into an old wise man, and the old wise man, he starts to figure out he's very wise and he might know how to get there. So he starts to talk to him. Well, the old wise man turns out to be none other than Melchizedek. And if you know who that is, you're a Bible scholar. I loved so much about this book that Paulo Coelho, he throws in these things, these characters, and concepts and ideas from the Bible and other religions. So like Allah's in it, or Muhammad, and like real people. Like, it's not just in a lot of fantasy. You have these sort of, it's like Lord of the Rings. You got people from the past ages, the Numenorians, and you keep hearing about all the lore and the history. And it's cool when they sort of make cameos in the main story, or think like Star Wars. All these people from the prequels or whatever, and they come up in all the off side movies. But in The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, he treats those sort of larger than life characters from the lore, the history of our world, and he gives them cameos and Easter eggs, and it's really cool because you're like, this is more than just fantasy. These are real people. Uh, Joseph from the Old Testament is featured in this book. He's talked about, and his story inspires the shepherd, rags to riches. But Melchizedek, he's such. If you're a Bible scholar or just uh, interested in the really really mysterious but awesome, fantastical elements of the Bible, look up Melchizedek. He doesn't get talked about in Sunday school too much, but he's awesome. And so he's the king of Salem, and he's a real life person, and he's in this story, and he's the old wise man who tells the shepherd boy how to get to the pyramids. So that's just fun to get those Easter egg and those cameos. Um, so then, so the boy's like, okay, and he's starting to realize, like, the world or God, like, will speak to you and show you signs and say, hey, when you start to notice the signs that I'm giving you, and that'll steer you in the direction of where you should be going. So the boy starts to notice these things, and he starts to keep going on his quest. He goes across to Africa, and he realizes, wow, Egypt is very far from Spain, on foot at least. And then through a lot of various things, he starts to go through the desert, and he meets up with the alchemist. And I'm not going to spoil too much. The thing about it too is it's a very like simple story, and that's sort of the beauty of it. It's a simple story, but there's so much beauty in the simplicity and things that we can all relate to in that simple story. what's packed around the story is just all these nuggets of wisdom, and oh my gosh, it's so good. It's one of those things where you just have to read it. You can't really explain why it's good. I mean, I'm trying to, but like, it's not going to do it justice. You should just read it. You are the author does a great job. He transports you right there. You're in the desert with the shepherd boy going along his quest, and it's awesome. I love this book so much. Um, there's the the religion he lands on. I personally don't subscribe to it. It's some offshoot of Gnosticism, basically, and I think this is why a lot of this book is used a lot for like sort of self-help sort of stuff out there. Because basically at the end of the day, it's you can manifest your own purpose, like, or whatever. If you try hard enough, it's the American gospel sort of thing. Try hard enough, you'll get there. Or you will things into existence. But ultimately he realized that it comes down to the boy discovers everyone is God. Like, everyone is like part of their soul is like part of God or something. So that's not what I subscribe to in my religion. So, but I want to say that because I still recommend this book because there's so much just truth and wisdom beyond that in it that you can glean from. And I think you should. And I think it's good to read books, even if they don't agree with what the things that you agree with. You should be willing to look at that and understand it, as long as it doesn't compromise your own faith. So I think that's good. And it's good to test your own faith too. Personally, this doesn't hold up against what I subscribe to, which is Christianity. But but there's a lot of truth to in this book that's very worth reading. So now I'll just read some of that stuff, some of the highlights I made from this book that are just when I read these lines, I just stopped and just smiled, because you don't get this in you get sort of these nuggets of just wisdom in books that are like ancient or classics, right? Or books that are nonfiction, right? That are supposed to just be books about getting smarter. But this is an adventure story, and I love when authors can weave like knowledge and can teach you things within an adventure story. I think that's the best way to retain info and to enjoy it, and to be able to pass it on to other people. So here's one that I just love. So I forget who was saying this. I think it was actually Melchizedek. He's talking to the shepherd boy. He says, "It's the simple things in life that are the most extraordinary. Only wise men are able to understand them." So I love that, because everyone, and myself too, we get so hooked on the extraordinary. All these strange things, and we're like, that was awesome. Or someone, like a sports analogy, right? Someone hits like a full court shot, buzzer beater, and it's like, wow, that never happens. That's so cool. But it's the mundane, the simple things that are in truth the most extraordinary, and only wise people will understand that. So if you do understand that, that's confirmation that you're wise. So going back to that analogy, the basketball player that consistently hits shots over and over and over and over and over, that's extraordinary, right? So apply that to your life in different ways. Showing up to work consistently every day, instead of making just that one big sale. Being there for your family every single day, instead of maybe buying them one great present every year. So it's the the mundane, the ordinary things, seemingly ordinary things that are truly extraordinary. And I love how this book points that out. I won't read them all because I highlighted it a lot. This one's sort of related to that. So he says, every day was the same. And when each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. And so if you're ever caught, in that routine and everything's the same, everything's boring, nothing is exciting, that's because, at least the authors suggest, that's because you're not recognizing that there is, what's the word? Pleasure. There is things to be grateful for every single day. Miracles. There are miracles every single day in the mundane, in the ordinary. The sun rising is a gift from God. Everyone, if you fail to recognize that, every day is going to be the same. But once you realize everything is really a gift and a miracle in life, every day is going to be an adventure. And I love how we've highlighted that. That's so cool. Oh, let's see. Here's one. Today I understand something I didn't see before. Every blessing ignored becomes a curse. I've never heard that before, but you want to think about that. Apply it to your own life. If you ignore blessings, do they become a curse? This one is good. Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than suffering itself. I think everyone can relate to that. Especially just like there's just over anxiety in the world today, like with, just doom scrolling, doom news, everything out there. The fear of something is worse than the actual thing. I think that's very important to recognize if you're ever in a moment of panic and you're like, oh, I'm super worried about something coming up. How many times have we been there when that thing happens? Not as bad as what you think. It's the fearing of it that is actually worse. And then the last one, that's what alchemists do. They show that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. I love that one. That one's awesome. And that we should take that into everyone's lives, whether it's at work, school, sports, relationships, whatever. When you strive to make yourself better, to improve yourself, it's funny, things around you start to improve too. And I just love how Paulo Coelho throws that in there. It's so true. It's awesome. This is a great book, guys. So even if you're not looking for just the nuggets of wisdom and things that you can use to improve your life, if you're not looking to improve your life, you can still enjoy this book. It's a fun adventure tale. And it hits on all the truths that are just at the core of humanity, and everyone will relate to it. I challenge you, if you think you will not relate to this book, you will in some way. That's the magic of this book. So yeah, The Alchemist. Incredible. Go out and read it. You can read it in a day, really. I read it in just 2 days, 2 sittings. I think it's a great book. Everyone should read it. Fantastic. That's all I got for today. I'm just gonna keep gushing over this book if I don't stop this video. So pick it up, read it. I got more videos coming. Again, it's January now, 2026. It's cold and snowy here in Minnesota. I've already shoveled 2 times this year. So yeah, not much to do in the wintertime except read. So stay tuned. Lots of books coming. There are lots of reviews coming. But you all take care. Happy 2026, and we'll see you next time.